hello, welcome. Welcome, ladies. Welcome to the Revitalize.
What do you
Please,
do?
please introduce
What's your bio?
yourself.
Tell me your 3-step formula. Yeah, no. You can find me. We
I
can,
do
it's like, this is the
actually
vibe.
really love
Just
having
jump in a
people introduce
conversation.
themselves for a specific reason, though, because I am an intentionality coach. The reason
Tell me.
is because your bio is
Mm,
something so manipulated. Yeah, it's in a way that you need it to
nuance?
be, which is
Yeah,
exactly right for what it serves the
yeah,
purpose for. But when I
yeah,
introduce myself, my bio doesn't, I mean,
yeah,
it does say I'm a mom. I mean, come on. But it's not like I'm a mom and that's what I love to do and da da da. It's different. So when someone introduces themselves, I feel like it
yeah,
really just like gets to the core of what their values are.
yeah.
So Danya,
Oh,
introduce yourself.
I love my daughter. Who am I?
Ladies, for the
It's
second
funny. I'm
time,
going to throw it right back.
welcome back to the Revitalized Womanhood podcast,
Yeah.
season 2, Live Like Her Now. Isn't that just
Hmm.
feel fierce? It's almost
Love
like
it.
I'm like yelling at people, but
Yeah.
in a loving way. Just do it now.
Oh, totally.
Just
Tough
do
love.
it. Wake up.
Yeah, tough. It's tough love, which I love, and that's why you and I connect so well together. That's like the heart of my work. Is Can I swear on this podcast?
I
I think you
do,
should
and
know I
you're
swear, but like just in
especially in
case, let's
Australia
preface
where it's
this.
just like another word in their language. So it's my
Okay.
second son was learning language
Yeah.
as we were through Europe and the UK and Australia, and his first word was the F word.
Uh-huh. I'm surprised that wasn't the C
Right.
word, because let me
Ooh,
tell
I
you,
know.
Gina, in North America, when you use the word champ, like it's like, what's up, champ? In sports teams, it's like, that's a compliment.
It
To hear,
is?
it's an insult. To hear, I'm not going to say the word, but in North America, that word, the C ends in a T, is like an insult in North
Oh, I
America. But
know.
here, it's like every
I know.
second word. It's like, what's up? And I remember this woman was like, you are a badass. And she said the word. I'm like, hold on.
Are you allowed to say
Is
that
that
to
like
me?
a compliment or every second? So I'm just like,
It
wow,
is.
I'm
It's
learning. There's
interesting
such
too
different cultural
because
differences.
it's a
Yeah.
perfect example. Oh, wait till we get into this. It is a perfect example of
Uh-huh.
what we put energy into putting negativity on. It becomes that thing.
Uh-huh.
What we put energy
Yep.
into
It's just
putting
a paradigm.
shame on, what we put energy into putting blame on, what you're right. It's like it's just
Totally.
another word for them, but for us, we're like, right? How
Totally.
could you say that?
How could you say that? Like 100%. And so to go back to, obviously my podcast is called Unfuckwithable. And that's really the heart of what I do, is helping high-level performers, entrepreneurs
Mm-hmm.
return to that essence of who they are. And I'm very mindful of language, because it's not about becoming anything. It's about unbecoming everything that you've told to be, you've been conditioned, you learn by. Because your true essence is fierce. It's her now. It's unfuckable. It's limitless, resourced, abundant, etc. But you just forgot. And so the work I get to do really is helping people remember, as simple as that sounds. Like, here's a mirror. Like, hold on, you forgot. There's fear. And then truly just helps people live their most authentic, aligned lives that only they know. Like, you only have your soul path. You only have your own music. You only know what's aligned for you, what's not. When you say yes, when you mean no, like, only you know that. But if you can't hear that based on the fear or mind drama or physiology, it gets in the way. And then you suddenly build these lives that you're like, this isn't my life. Do I even want this anymore? And I love you. You're the epitome of embodiment. Because I was in a mastermind call recently, and I was like, Danya, how do you do what you do? Like, I'd love to travel the world and just, trust your intuition. I'm like,
But
so
I
do
can't.
it. Oh, but
But
I
I
can't
can't.
my age. Huh? But I got kids.
Right.
Huh? Do you want me to show you 1,000 examples of women who are building their businesses and traveling with their kids, no matter what age they are? So it's beautiful, because I just get to deconstruct these paradigms of, like, classic fun word, the C word. It's like, here, it's like, that's part of the language and it's normal. But to us, it's like, oh my gosh. And it's just a perspective. It's just a paradigm. Where did you learn that? And we're all living with these invisible paradigms or constraints that maybe worked for us up until a certain point, but no longer align for where we're going. And then to question is the first step. And then to listen to the answer and, like, actually take action in that space is the work I get to do. It's so fun. So there's not really a bio. It's like Unfuckwithable. leaders, visionaries, etc.
I love it.
And you kind
I
of get the
love it,
vibe.
and when you were
It's
explaining
what
to
we
me,
do.
we
So
got back in touch with each
yeah.
other because after our first interview, we were, we're,
Yeah.
following along, and honestly, for a minute there,
Hmm.
I mean, I'm gonna say it was really refreshing to not really be on top of my social media game because I was super, super intentional about the
Yes.
reason I stopped my podcast.
Yeah.
I actually trained a coach in in my community to take over my weekly calls. I would kind of pop in when I could, but
Incredible.
I knew that this door was closing because we are so
Yeah.
um I'm not going to say like scheduled because we're not. Like we'll just get somewhere and be like, "Oh, let's do this," or "Oh, let's do that." But we are intentional about
Yep.
why we're doing what we're
Hmm.
doing. Like, it took me an entire year of going back
Yeah.
and forth and humming and hawing and, "Oh, should we have another baby? Oh, I don't know if I should. Oh, yeah, maybe we should. Oh, like it was very intentional. So when
Yeah.
I'm 43 years old this year and people are like, "You have a 1-year-old?" I'm like, "Yeah, do that math." But or someone's a gal said the other day, I said, "I'm gonna be hanging out with the mac and cheese crew," and she's like, "But this will pass. This season will be over." I'm like, "This is I designed my life this way. This was an intentional path.
Yeah.
I
I
want
want
this. I
this.
am
Yeah.
loving every minute of it. I'm soaking it all
Yeah.
up." So, when I finally got
Hmm.
back to connecting with you and all of a sudden you're like, "Oh, I'm in Australia." And I'm like, "I was just there." Me. And you came. So
That's so wild.
listeners, go
I
back
love
and
it.
listen to the episode with Danya before because it is incredible. I loved it. You blew my mind, and that's why I just like I couldn't disconnect from you. And so then you're like, "Okay, I'm going to Australia." Tell us, like, you flew to Australia for a speaking engagement, and then you're like, "I'm just going to stay. Hey, like, this country allows me to stay technically for 3
Hmm.
months, and then I think I could even stay longer." Like, what does that look like
Yeah.
for you? I mean, what was going
Yeah.
on?
The reason I'm kind of laughing is because my friends get me. And like when you actually live your intentional intuitive path, like you have your own inner compass of like where to go. It's just been something like it's a muscle you strengthen. And it's just like the inner guidance, whether you call it God, source, universe, higher self, intuition. Everyone has its own inner knowing of like what's aligned, what's not, right? And it was just coming off of a really hard year, like a deep, same with you, like very deeply intentional, like putting certain things on pause, releasing a lot of clients, choosing to move back with my parents to help them heal because they just had an accident. It was like, that was like, I, I'll get there. But there was a quote that went around like, oh, if you feel like you've done the healing, spend a week with your parents. Okay, now try living like 5 or 6 months being a full-time carried and like also healing all the trauma and stuff that happened in households. Like everyone has their own upbringing, right? Mine was beautiful and also tumultuous. So it just was off the back of that. And I was like, hold on. Okay, getting back into me and being intentional. And I felt the energy shift in my space. I'm like, okay, actually, it's back to me now. Like that was such a beautiful, brilliant chapter, but effing hard. Like just so much deep healing in the most beautiful way. And so then my friend reaches out to me and him and I are in a mini mastermind. I'm not even gonna say the name because it's really inappropriate. But he's like, hey, I'm running a 2-day event here and I'd love for you to come and speak. Can I fly you out? And I was like, let's go. Back on, baby. Like where last year was such deep personal things and a lot of releasing clients and masterminds and stuff. And then it was like, okay, here's an opportunity. I'm like, let's take it. And I love him. I love the work that he does. So we came and I did this 2-day event. And after the event, I'm not kidding you, Gina. I was like, do I cancel my flights or not? And I was like, for me, it was like, not yet, not time to decide. I wake up the next morning and I'm like, okay, well, I got to check out right now. Like literally have to leave. And it's like, pack your stuff and go down to the hotel lobby. I'm like, okay. So I'm sitting in the hotel lobby and I was like, cancel your flights. I'm like, sweet. I'm flying out in like 2 hours. Where am I going next? And it just sat there. And it's just, I think for most people, that already can sound like, I don't need to plan and research the weather and where you're going. And it's like, no, like if I'm guided to do that, I do it. If not, I just sit and I listen and I tune in of like, what's next? And I give myself things to respond to. And it just goes back to that own inner coherence. Like when you're not in the fear, the storm, the logic, you're just so fiercely in tune with yourself and whatever you want to call that. answers come through. And yes, I could have logically planned this out, but so I've been in Australia since January 15th. This has been the most beautiful, synchronistic, wild chapter of meeting the coolest people in the coolest ways. I couldn't even have planned it. All I had to do though was like tune in and listen and ask. And so, yeah, I just went canceling my flights, and then I not extended my visa because I had 3 months at that time, which you're very familiar with, the visitor visa. And then just one thing led to the next, like go check out this place and tour this place and try this. And it was like the whole time just going through Australia like that. And now I'm in this beautiful town, Townsville, but it's like I'm about to move again. I'm like, sweet, game on. I don't know where, but it's like road tripping south, and there's certain spots that are coming up. And then you come in my frequency again, and like DMs and like just what's been coming through when you're so, what I like to call is coherent. And sure, this is like neuroscience and high performance and quantum physics, all that stuff. But really, it's just you're clear with who you are.
Yeah.
There's no static. There's like your emotions are regulated, your mind's regulated. You can hear yourself and you hear your own truth and you follow that, despite the circumstance, the chaos, the age, the fears, the whatever it is. So I'm laughing because I had to explain to someone, it's like, what do you mean you're about to road trip and you haven't planned?
Right.
I'm like, the plan unfolds. Like he has a quote, like, as you walk the path unfolds. So if I'm not gripping and I'm not in stress, from a physiological perspective, that means the blood is staying in my brain where I have access to creativity, intuition, seeing possibilities, everything that's here and is going to help me be more resourceful and effective versus in fight or flight stress, my blood's now in my body's strong, but I'm dumber as a CEO or visionary. I can't access that online information if I'm in fight or flight stress or fear. So the fun part is that's the name of the game with every entrepreneur, athlete, or artist I work with. It's like, how do I keep you grounded and in your own truth, not in fear? Because fear, you become dumb. Fear, you become less resourceful. It's like physiologically proven. So I was trying to explain to this person, well, you know how we got here? And I went for a walk and I said hi to this girl. Like I was like, go say hi to this woman, pet her dog. And then 2 days later, I ended up renting a room in her house. I couldn't have planned that. You couldn't have researched that. Then I was invited to speak at her event. Like you can't plan when you let go of like your own ego and logic and you're open for other possibilities. What comes in is just, you can't plan it. So
it's so beautiful
that's kind of
because
where I'm at
you're
with this journey.
more in tune to using, like you're saying, these scientific and the biological and all of these things that you have studied. You have actually, like, this has been your degrees and everything, and putting that into work for it to make sense to you and your brain and your body and your moments versus me, dum-dum. I don't know those words. The growth.
Not dumb, just not knowing yet. Don't say that in my presence, Gina.
Educated in the school of life. That is Gina. Educated in the school of life is we lived through these moments and figured out, we tried it this way, we tried it that way, it didn't work for us, or it did work for us, but maybe we wanted to try something else. We wanted to see how that felt, and we just allowed ourselves the opportunities to do it differently and not put any kind of
experience
box around what was supposed to happen. This is so interesting. My husband got invited to new acquaintance, become instant friend. I just recorded with her yesterday and here locally, because I'm just, like you're saying, my everything is wide open. I'm like, yes, I'm taking it all in. I'm curious about everything. I'm accepting everything. I'm like, I'm feeling it. If it doesn't feel good, it's an instant no. If it feels good, yes, go towards that. Do more of that, right? And that's the simplest way to explain anything. If there's any kind of force or it doesn't feel good or something, right? Another right turn off of that, I got a DM from someone from a couple years ago that I would have really loved the support of, but the whole support women thing was a very much, you're hearing the words but never the actions. Anyway, dropped into my DMs out of nowhere. And then it turned into something that was, it felt yucky. I'm not going to lie. I mean, it wasn't even anything big or dramatic or anything. And I was just like, I don't like this. I'm out. Like,
no.
And it's being able to know that's okay. But women, especially, are
100%.
not taught that that's okay. They have to be
Yeah.
pleasing, they have to be kind, they have to
Yeah.
include everyone, and it's like, at what
Yeah.
expense? Hang on one second. Hayes?
Totally.
Then don't answer the door, it might be your dad. Someone's knocking and I'm naked. Look out
Flash
the
him! Just
living
joking.
room window, but
No.
just don't
Don't
answer
listen to
it.
me.
Anyway,
I'm definitely like the troublemaking aunt. It's like, "Let's go play
he
and throw
is
food everywhere."
the he's
Like, I'm a giant
oh,
kid, so if
he's
there's
the
kids
one.
around, I'm
He's the
like, "Let's
jujitsu. He's the
let's be
one.
the
He's like
unfiltered
the
aunt."
the
Yeah.
combination of me and Rick all balled into one. Okay, dude, I'm recording a podcast.
"Hey,
Right?
Hayes, how was jujitsu?"
And that's the thing too, is I'm like, I'm recording a podcast. Okay, can you keep it down? Don't come bother me, blah blah. So of course he comes and just,
But also, this is, like, such
oh
a real like, this is
yeah,
life. There's not separate from
this is
business and
me.
stuff, and it's like, this is and also demonstrating, like,
Hmm.
you can do it however you want. There's no, like, "Oh, you have to look a certain way and don't swear and
No.
pour makeup." It's like, no,
Yeah.
just live your authentic
Yeah.
life, and this is
100%.
authentic life
When
and
I first
family and kids
started
and beautiful.
When I
And if
first
someone's turned
started, I
off
would
with,
look
then
at other people and
somewhere
be like,
else.
"Oh, that's what I need to do." I think that's a horrible way to start a business, is by looking
Totally.
at other people in
Yeah.
your niche or whatever, because then you start getting these ideas. It's just like leadership. It's just like anything really uh, is you explain to
Yeah.
me what your definition of a leader is, and then someone defines it and it's like, "Well,
Mhm.
why?" Well, because that's what I was shown in these people who
Yeah.
I regard as leaders. Okay, but what
Yeah.
about this? And what
Yeah.
about this aspect? What about and it's like, now let's define something new.
Yes.
And that's a lot of what you do too. It's
Yeah.
deconstructing all of these things that we've
100%.
created
Yeah.
and getting back to it. What
Yeah.
what
Well,
I
just
was going to say,
learn, you
sorry, I
know?
was like, oh my gosh, I will get to these questions for you, but so this I do.
You got
This
questions? Fun.
I have to
I thought
have
we were just
questions
jamming.
just in case. Like I knew we wouldn't need them, but so my husband goes, so this acquaintance that's new that
Yeah.
I'm open to these things, recorded with her yesterday. Afterwards, she's like, "Hey, and
Yeah.
by the way, my husband's got this event going tomorrow. He'd love your husband to go." Well, and she's like, "You too," but
Cool.
she knows my schedule. But and it actually worked out that he could go. Well, it come to I hear about this and he asked this question, the presenter asked this question, and I was actually like really impressed that my husband like raised his hand. Like no one was answering the question, and my husband did. He's like, "Well, I'll say like
Yeah.
I think the question was like,
Yeah.
what's the biggest dream? What's the scariest dream? The dream that makes your heart pump and you're nervous of, and like the fear around
Mm.
it, like all of the excuses. What's
Yeah.
your biggest dream?" And my husband's like, "Well, I don't have one, honestly.
Yeah.
I've done XYZ." He's like, traveled for 9 years, 88
Yeah.
countries. I've
Yeah.
built 13 businesses. Now we
Yeah.
bought 60 more acres under our property out there in Zion. We're going to build 3 more houses out there. Like, so it's like he's just spewing
Oh
out
my
all of
gosh.
these things that are like, quote unquote, people's dreams, right? These are the big dreams. And they are our big
Dreams.
dreams. So
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not taking away from that.
Yeah.
But he
Yeah.
said, right,
It's also normalized, though.
it's a
It's like,
very
this is just
matter
a
of
matter
fact
of
thing
fact
for
of
us.
doing
It's
it.
like, this is what it
Yeah.
is. Well,
Yeah.
but he
Yeah.
says, and I was actually like, "Oh, that's interesting." He says, "But I don't feel passion for any of it." Like travel, we feel
Mhm.
passion for,
Mhm.
right? But we know we can't do that right now. So I feel like
Yeah.
he's kind of
Yeah, yeah,
almost gone into a little bit of a depression from it. So even though he's doing these things
yeah. Yeah.
that he's trying to be passionate about, he said, "I'm lacking it." And so I
Yeah.
said to him, actually, I said, "Okay, so what if you were coaching someone and they said the same thing to you? What would you then have them
Yeah.
do to walk in this, you know?" And he said something and I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
"What about saying yes to everything? What about being curious about everything? What
Yeah.
about walking up to strangers and walking their dog and having a conversation with them? And what does it come of? And all of a sudden you're speaking at
Yeah.
another event, right? Like that is the path you need to
Yeah.
take.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
100% believe that that like you're saying, it's not
Yeah.
necessarily the universe bringing you anything. It's the law of magnetism. You're
Yeah.
allowing to be open to
Totally.
these things, and your true self is starting to come
Yeah.
through and align. And so it aligns with those
Yes.
things, which we call the universe bringing
100%.
it, right?
Yeah. And it's talking about this beautiful coherence and like Nikola Tesla always says, like, if you want to understand the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, vibration. And it doesn't matter what your background as beliefs are and stuff. Like, there's universal laws, or like this right now, this, if you're not on camera, this mug
Right.
isn't actually solid, but it feels solid. But under like a microscope, it's actually vibrating particles. And it's fun because, like, you bring up law of magnetism. I like to look at it through that lens and almost like a radio station channel where you're dialed into with your beliefs, your emotions, your state, who you are is like a radio station. It's a tuning fork. So everything in your life is a reflection of that tuning fork, that dominant vibration, that frequency you're giving off. And if you think of it like a radio station, back in the day when you
Mhm.
had to like turn the knob of the radio station, right? Right now we might be dialed into country music. And I know some people are like, I hate country music. I
Mhm.
love country music. Again, just observe whatever comes up for you. But if you're listening to country music and you
You
don't
gotta
like country
change the
music, what do you
station.
got to do? You got to move the dial on the radio station. Yeah. And so when you move the dial, though, what happens naturally is the static comes up. All the stuff that's not aligned for where you're going. Let's say I want to listen to EDM. Give me some EDM. Well, you have to dial the station, dial you, uncover the stuff that's preventing you from doing what you want to do, or the fears, limitations, or whatever the heck it is, past traumas, experiences, etc., to create space and dial into so that that radio station tuner can catch the frequency waves of EDM. Because right now, every radio station's playing.
Oh my gosh,
Every
yeah.
timeline exists. You talk about this whole concept, right? Of every timeline exists. When you watch a movie in the theater, does that
No.
mean that's the only movie playing? No, every movie's playing, but what are you dialed into with your intention and attention? That's what your experience is over time. But most of us are just living on repeat or haven't questioned things or redefined things or really said, like, what is mine? Like, do I want this again? Is this still mine now? It might have been what I wanted up until now, but I'm now seeing a change. And only you understand if there's alignment for you or not, that coherence. And when you're in true coherence, that magnetism you talk about is because your inner world matches your outer world. And then suddenly people come in. And it's not random, it's synchronistic. It's law of vibration, law of attraction, all these concepts we can jam on, but I'm pretty sure your audience, you talk about this, is very familiar with it. But it's like, I like to put things in metaphors where I'm like, okay, what am I tuning into right now? Fear FM, scarcity, worry, lacks, which most
Right.
people, especially as business owners, do. You can be successful on paper and have millions of dollars, but you're
Right.
still tuned into scarcity and fear and force and pressure. Can you even imagine a possibility where it could just be light and fun and easy in a game, no matter what lawsuits are coming at you, bankruptcy? Can it still be a different experience? It can be, but not with the old radio station channel of I'm stuck in
Oh
fear,
my gosh.
scarcity,
I think
whatever.
we
So,
need to have another episode with my husband on here. I feel like I don't want to throw him under the bus, but
oh, it's
with
so fun.
that, I feel like the reason that he's not
Yeah,
feeling passionate about this, because it's crazy, because I've heard him talk about it in a way that I'm like, that feels like you're
yeah,
passionate about it, right? But because it is now this big thing that has all of these stress things surrounding it,
yeah,
and it's bringing in
yeah.
PTSD from when we lost everything in the recession, because we went from a place where it's like
Sure.
we had complete
Totally.
freedom. We could do whatever we wanted. He could go buy a Lambo. He could go do this. We could
Yeah,
go travel. We could just go off and do things, right? We have all these freedoms,
yeah,
but we said to ourselves,
yes,
do we want to double down and try to go for the next big swing? We could lose everything again. And guess what creeps in when that question starts coming
yeah.
around is, "Ooh, I've felt that way
Mm-hmm.
before. I know what that felt like, and I do not want that."
Yeah,
And so all of a sudden, it's
yes.
like lack, stress, exactly what you just explained.
100%. And then to our listeners, when you're in, like, if just do a pulse check on a scale of 1 to 10, how often 10 is being stressed out, fear, worry, whatever. 1 is nothing. You're in flow state, you're present, you're just fully into the experience here right now. How many of us are on a, like, at least a middle 5, 7, 8 stress in our day? For business owners, most of them spend, like, when I poll people, honestly, it's usually get minimum 5, usually 7 or 8. Okay, so then if you know that from a physiological perspective, when I'm in stress, my
Right.
body thinks there's a threat trying to kill me. So it's constantly bringing the blood from my brain into my body. So my body's strong, but you're dumb. You're not as resourceful. You're not as effective. So in the moments you actually need to be resourceful and effective under the most high stakes, high pressure situations, if you're already in fear, you're
Mm.
operating at half your capacity. So, like, depending on who I'm talking to, it's like just from a pure neurological perspective, physiological perspective, if I can get you back into just even a little bit less stress, your body then brings blood back to the brain and says, okay, now you're effective. Now you're resourceful. Now you're seeing possibilities that were always there, but your brain's not going to show you because it's so focused on
Right.
surviving and running away from this lion in front of you, which the lion is like more money, more visibility, more of these things that you want consciously, but you can't access. You literally cannot access it. Your body's so wise and so smart. And you first got to change your relationship with how you see what's actually happening. Because people see things like stress, anxiety, oh my God, bad. It's like, no, your body's responding brilliantly to what it thinks is about to happen. So you just have to learn how to recode that and shift that. So that way, when you are in those situations where you've lost everything, or you're reliving the past, or you're about to think about this, getting a speaking gig or a new home, and there's stress, there's good stress and bad stress. How do I stay in where it's good stress, where I'm staying effective and resourceful
Right.
so I can keep all my resources when I move forward versus shutting down and being dumb and in fear? And the beautiful thing you brought up, Gina, which I tell to everyone, if you can think a thought and it causes sensation in the body, like you mentioned the fact that if I can think back to
Mhm.
when I lost it all, it still feels something. That means it's still in your frequency. It's still within
Right.
your radio station channel. So that it's now informing still subtly, subconsciously in the background, how you're moving forward. And what I like to get people to is no matter what's happened, and I'm talking everything and anything, if you can't think about it and it's neutral, like paper towel, as in think of paper towel. Okay, it's paper towel. Okay, think of the hardest thing that's happened to you. Until it's neutral like that, it is still, whether you like it or not, impacting and informing your state and your decisions, your actions and your results, whether you like it or not. And eventually people are like, okay, I'm exhausted of doing this. It's like, yeah, because you have to change the inner program, the frequency of the
Until
radio
it
station,
becomes
not by
more
more action.
natural.
Action
Yeah,
is easy.
until it becomes
Strategy is easy.
natural.
Yeah, 100%. But right now, if there's signals going off,
Mhm.
it's like, I can still feel that in my
Yeah.
body. It's not neutral. Your body's still responding to something that happened 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago
Mm.
as if it's happening right now. And when you understand that, you're like, oh, I can work with that and recode that. So that's the fun game. Because, like, you look at all great high performers or you look at great athletes, the ones who succeed
Mhm.
are the ones who master their state. Like, in a very demeanored way of people are like, you take boxers, for example, you're like, what boxer is going to win? And you think it's like the person who's super angry and like revved up and like,
No.
let's go.
Well, that's
It's
like
like, no, it's
jujitsu.
the calm
What we were
boxer.
talking about
It's the
jujitsu,
one who
it's gotta
actually
be
can
the
see
person that
clearly.
can think
100%.
like, "Uh-oh,
Yeah.
I'm in this situation now. I have to
Calm.
think clearly to
We're
get
gonna
out of
get
it."
choked. Yeah.
And it's a constant I have to
Yeah.
think clearly in
Yes.
split-second times.
Yeah.
I sent that picture of you with
100%.
I sent that picture
So
with
now you
you
talk
with
about high
him to
performers.
one of our buddies who's a very high jujitsu
You're right.
belt, and he's like, "Oh, that's so cool." He's like, "Invented jujitsu." 'Cause I had to
Yeah,
ask
him and
him.
his
I'm
dad
like,
brought
"Okay, so
jujitsu to
explain to me who
UFC.
this
Like,
is."
literally like the
He's like,
yeah. Royce Gracie. Uh, he's a big well, and that's what's fun too, because jiu-jitsu is like you're right. Like as a white belt, someone who just like you just know you're gonna get pummeled. Like it's about surviving, but surviving calmly, not freaking out. As you get more experience in jujitsu, you recognize, oh, you're getting a bit choked around the neck, or someone's grabbing your leg for an ankle lock, whatever. You can know it, but you stay open and resourceful to be like, okay, I'm okay. I still have 10 moves I can do. Like
Mhm.
it's chess and it's a long game, right? But if you're new, you're like, oh, shoot, they're grabbing my neck, and you
Right.
just naturally go into fear response. But that happens with everyone, especially in business, especially in change, especially when you're doing something new and different in life. Like I'm choosing this chapter. If you haven't, it's just going to be a lot harder for you if you haven't actually understood how to master yourself, mind and body. So that way, when you go into that new chapter, you are going with fully resource and access, not in fear, stress state where it's just going to it's just going to make whatever you're experiencing so much harder. So it's funny because in jujitsu, I laughed so much. Like, it's just like I'm getting pummeled and I'm laughing. And the guy's like, why? This is so fun. Or I could experience jujitsu
Right.
and getting choked out as like stressful. So in the experience of whatever you're doing, you get to choose your experience of it. it can be hard, and 90% of people are going to go to hard stress force. Business, life, the hardest things you're going through don't have to be the typical response or experience if you don't choose it to be. Is it simple? Yes. Is it easy? No, because you have all this past conditioning, like even childbirth or even kids growing up. It's like, oh, terrible
Mhm.
twos, or the macaroni stage. You're like,
Mhm.
I love this. I'm present for this. I'm here. Whereas most people are going to go to old
Right.
conditioning of like, oh, this is hard, grind, force. You don't have to have that experience. In anything in life, you can choose your experience of it.
That's my
So
whole well,
I don't know where we're going with that, but
that's my
worth it.
whole hope for women who tune into this podcast, for women who
Yeah.
can find me
Mhm.
on Instagram, for women, that's my hope. It's like, please, if nothing
Yes.
else, please take this one thing away. You get to decide. That's it. You get to decide. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
And
we
you can
decide
change it
anytime you
anytime you
want.
want. You can go to Australia
100%.
for a conference and you can not get back on your flight.
Anytime.
You can, oh my gosh, we have this one story where,
Yeah.
so the first time we went to Europe, it was planned the entire 3 months, every stay, the road trip we went.
Yeah.
And I mean, this was in 2017. This
Wow.
was
Yeah.
before Instagram, really. I mean, Instagram was there, but it was
Go there,
before all
yeah.
of the
Uh-huh.
family travel, whatever. So my husband like legit mapped out 3 months worth of stays, driving, all the things.
Wow.
So what we figured out along
Yeah.
this way is we get to Croatia and there's this couple there and they're from Sicily. And they're like, "Oh, come down and meet us.
Cool.
Come down and blah 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 blah." And we're like, "Well, we can't because we're booked. I mean, we can't do
Yeah.
anything else." And we actually did feel that a few
Yeah.
times along the way cuz you get somewhere and like you get me that's jumping into vomit mode with you and I'm like, "You have to go here and you have to go here and you have to see this and this is my favorite," right?
I love it.
And
Yeah.
you can't do that
Yeah.
if you've already
Yeah.
planned the trip and paid for it all. So the next time we went
Yeah.
back,
Yeah.
basically, we just kind of after that, I mean, from that day on, we really only book like 2 weeks in advance just for that reason. So if when someone says, "This is incredible, you need to go see
Sure.
this," we can reroute and go to it. So just like you're
Yeah.
saying, in
Yeah.
life,
Flexibility.
in our
Yeah.
every single daily life, it's the same thing. It's the same concept. It's I
100%.
haven't
Yeah.
accepted the supposed to's because I get to decide. So what does that mean? It means, well, I was on my way to
100%.
the
Yeah.
gym this morning and I thought, I really want to go get a baby gate because I'm sick of even running down the hall and I'm scared someone's going to come in the door and smack her in the face. So I really should go get a baby gate, you know? And I can
Oh,
go do
yeah.
that and not care and not feel guilty that I'm not going to the gym and
Yeah.
not feel body shaming myself because of it. I can, right? Like it's being able to have
Yeah.
those moments where you're like, meh.
Yeah. Yeah. The flexibility of it. And it really comes like that's that's why I love connecting with you and love reconnecting with you in a deeper way is because you also live that very embodied state of choice, of discernment, of actually living what feels authentic and embodied to you and not based on some structure, some like it's just what you guys want in this chapter. And that's really what I want for everyone too. And especially women, and especially when it comes to money and wealth, like unfuckwithable wealth. Unfuckable is a different concept, but wealth is like being resourced, responding instead of reacting, being able to choose, having possibilities. And we're first internally wealthy before we're externally wealthy. But it comes back to like, what do I
Yeah.
want and why do I want this? Just like you said before, is like, is this even mine? Defining leadership. Is that my definition? Success, is that mine? But so many of us don't actually take time to question it, or we do, but then we ignore what actually comes through because it's so different to what we've been told or learned or what we've done for the last 10, 20, 30 years. And it's this beautiful nuance of like just returning back to the truth of who you are and living life how you want to. Doesn't matter what anyone says. Like, and
Yeah.
it's easier said than done. I get that. But I really admire and appreciate your embodiment of that because I know so many women, especially mothers, who wouldn't be doing what they're doing because it's like, oh, my age, oh, I have kids, oh, I have this. And those reasons feel very real and are valid. And also there's another potential possibility
Right.
or perspective if you're open
Yeah,
to it.
you might
If you
think
want
you
that
want that
lifestyle, if
lifestyle,
you
but
want to
really
do
you
what you
don't.
want to
If you
do.
really sat with it, that's not actually what
Yeah.
you want.
Yeah. 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 And it just comes back to the freedom of questioning and choosing from a place of what only you know is aligned for yourself. And only you know that, not your partner, not your friends, not anyone. It's just like only you know that. And if you have a team that you can work with, sweet. Like in life, you're like, hey, can
Yeah.
you pick up the groceries while I do this? And but everyone knows what's actually true for them.
That's been huge for
It's just a
me
matter
is
if you
because
listen to it or
and my
not.
husband, we both appreciate the fact that
Yeah.
a lot of people couldn't do what we do because their spouse wouldn't want to. They don't want to. I
Yeah.
mean, Rick has friends say all the time, like he's got
Yeah.
one friend that does not want to hang out with his wife or his kids ever. So, this would be
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
nightmare for him. Or he's got
Yeah.
friends who are like, I really want to do that. I really want to do that.
Yeah.
My wife, she's scared to. She's not on board with it. Right. So it definitely took, I mean,
Yeah.
if they've heard my story, we were in the throes of we've lost everything. Our world is completely shattered, ashes.
Yeah.
What do we want to rebuild from the ashes?
Yep.
So we got on board together, luckily. But I have a question for
Yeah.
you. I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
And this is a good question because with all of your experience and your background
Ooh,
in
feel it.
all of this, what have you learned in this
Mm-hmm.
3 months of Danya time that you have not learned
Mm-hmm.
previously? I mean, and not, I mean, maybe do I even need to go more specifically into about yourself, about the world, about, I mean, like, what are the new
Not
aha
I
moments?
think
Because
it's
also, it may just be because you
yeah.
experienced going back home, because you experienced breaking yourself apart again. So what have these 3 months, how have they differed from how you previously viewed all the work you're doing?
I will say it's just deepened it because I would say this is how I've lived for a long, long, long time. But I didn't realize where I was still holding maybe old conditioning or shame or like societal
Like what?
expectations. So it's with everything. I'm always questioning myself of like, oh, what? This is interesting.
What are some that you
Um,
still yeah, I want
yeah,
to
a
know
lot of
what's
things
come
have
up
come
if
up.
I mean
So,
ones that you're willing to share, right? But
oh,
because
I'm an open book. I'm
I
like, you
seriously,
ask
I
me
you
anything, I'm an
think
open book.
you've beaten something, quote unquote, right? I mean, we never beat anything, but you think
No,
you're like, I
no,
don't care about that anymore. And you
no.
introduce yourself into a new arena,
Yeah,
and all of a sudden it's like, oh, this is
yeah,
it again. It's just a different version of it.
yeah. That, and I think what's beautiful for everyone to recognize, because they think like, "Oh, I've healed the scarcity pattern and stuff," and it's like, you have in that arena, but, like, healing and whatever spiritual work, whatever you wanna call it, is like I like to look at it as a spiral upward. So every time you expand your awareness or consciousness, that never goes back. Like, once you're aware of something, you're not ever unaware of it, but it keeps expanding. And I was speaking with someone
Mhm.
who's just lost a parent, and then a person who lost, their soul pet, and it was like, I remember when I lost my soul dog, I was experiencing grief in a way that I've never experienced grief before. And I was like, there's grief, but then
Yeah.
there's like layers of grief and layers of these things. And so for me, this last 3 months was just deepening my own practices. Like I thought I had surrendered. To most people in life, I live a very surrendered life. And surrender does not mean just like,
No.
ooh, a bag in the wind and whatever.
Mhm.
It's so fiercely intentional with my inner voice where it's like, I want things, yes, but not from a place of lack, from a place of like, oh, that'd be fun to experience. But I'm unattached to anything. And so I'm okay with plans changing because it's my internal compass guiding that, not something I think I need or lack or whatever. But you think you live surrendered and you're just like, ooh. So the first one, again, just super transparently, when I travel, first of all, growing up, I never had roommates. The roommates I had were maybe a partner I lived with that was like with for 8 years and engaged, right? I never had roommates. So I was like, I'm like a fierce lone wolf. So I'm in that hotel lobby. I'm like, where do I go? And then it's like, literally, it's like, look up this place. And it's called Be Home. It's like a type of hostel, but not an actual hostel. I had no idea I had judgment around hostels. Like, Danya, who are you and what are you doing to stay in a hostel? Like, this is my inside voice. I'm like, damn girl, okay. And I go and it's like, go tour this place. I'm like, I would never be someone I'm like, what do you mean be someone? So it's just recognizing these little judgments I
Mhm.
didn't know were there until I'm in an environment. And Be Home was the most fun experience of my life. I got to meet people. Essentially, you stay in like your own separate pod. I felt like I was on a reality TV show because like it's literally
Oh my
a
gosh, I'm
fully
totally looking it up.
self-contained pod with like lights, a TV. You have to. But it's beautiful because I went there, I met the manager, the owner happened to tour through. She was telling me her vision of the business. We started talking about business. I'm like, okay, I feel I want to try this. You can only go for a month at a time though. So it attracts a very different type of traveler. There's no parties, there's quiet zones. So you guys can look it up. And I was like, something in me is saying, stay here. So I was like, fuck it, let's do it. I'm excited to try this because I'm not someone, I'm a light
Yeah.
sleeper and I don't party. So typically
Right.
hostels are what? Like party and whatever. And I was like, no, be here. And I'm like, wow, there's a bunch of ish coming up with me right now of like your identity and your business. And you're like, what is this? Um, that led to being such a beautiful experience. And I met some of the coolest people. Like you're cooking, there's a 6-top huge kitchen. It's very clean. Everything that I would desire in a place, it had. Like quiet hours and no partying, all these things, right? And I'm sitting here cooking with someone from Korea and then someone from Italy and Spain. And you're just like, so you're trying different cuisines and learning different language. And I'm like, I never, and I met some of the coolest people there. But that was an expansion of like, wow, I'm still
Mm,
judging like what things look like. I don't think to me, to everyone else,
mm.
like, I don't care what you think of me. But I was like, there's some judgment here of me staying. And I was like, so I didn't, that expanded my horizon of like, where am I still holding some stuff I wasn't aware of? Um, Deepening the surrender experience for sure. Like I ended up taking a flight to Cairns and then I don't
Cairns.
think I'm saying that right. Cairns,
Cairns. Yeah.
Cairns.
Has an R in there, but yeah, it's
Cairns,
cans.
right? And yes. And ended up going on a road trip with a friend who met me there. And like, again, no
Right.
plan, but no plan. Like it's intentional, like we want to experience these areas, but
Mhm.
unattached to how it unfolds. And then that's how I ended up in Townsville. So I will say to circle back, it's just a deepening of like, I've surrendered and like surrender more. I've embodied and embody more. I, even with like, so there's certain arenas in my life where I'm like, yeah, unfuckwithable and being vulnerable and open, but that's not for me in romantic partnerships. So something that's been really interesting is like, Danya, you embody this in every area of your life, but dating and romantic. And I was like, interesting. And recognizing like there's a
Right.
fear of love and opening my heart again and dating someone who's not necessarily someone you think you date kind of thing. And I'm just like, holy shit. So much stuff has come up around that domain for me as I'm dating someone who is significantly younger than me. And I'm like unattached, but also like, holy cow, look at all your mirrors coming up of like, what is this? And like, what are like such silly things? I'm like, okay, but not judging those things, just honoring
Being
them, being aware of
curious
them, and
about
then
them.
saying,
Like,
okay,
why
cool.
am I
Like, how do you
feeling
want to move
this
through
way
this?
about this? Like,
Curious. Yeah. And why did I learn that? And really interesting to see how I can do that in every area of my life, but I haven't applied unknowingly certain concepts or ways of being to love or romantic. And you're
mhm.
like, interesting. So there's been so much blown open, but more so just on a deepening of my body of work or I guess how I live or how I see life. And it's because I'm in these
Yeah.
environments. Like I intentionally put myself in environments that are stretchy or different than I've known. And then that's what brings up the stuff that you don't realize is
It's
there,
what
but
everybody
has
always
always been
says. You
there.
hear people always saying, always, always, always saying, you have to get out of your comfort zone to grow, right? That's where growth happens, is out of your comfort zone. And I
Yeah.
think people have said it to death
Yeah.
to the point that people don't actually, it's like,
Yeah.
what's my
What does
comfort
that
zone?
mean?
Like, but really not, dropping yourself into a new country and then just staying there for 3 months. That's getting out of a comfort zone, not
Yeah.
just not going to the gym today.
Yeah.
That's not what we're talking about
Yeah.
with these things.
And it's funny too, because not at all. And for me, traveling, like everyone was like, how do you mean you go to the airport and just be like, where am I going? To me, that feels normal. It's like very like, that's my
Mhm.
natural flow. I'm in flow state when I'm just responding and like playing with life, but using my own inner compass. Whereas some people are like, what do you mean you don't have a plan? You didn't research. But like I didn't,
Yeah.
I trained myself this way, right? Like I understand like ebbs and flows of life and I trust
Oh,
myself to
ding,
respond and
ding,
like where
ding.
I'm all guided
You
to go
just
and all
said
that
trust
stuff.
yourself.
Yes.
You just said trust yourself.
Yes.
That was part of one of the things I had in
Yeah.
here, is that people don't. How often do we've like
Yeah.
shut down that beautiful part of us that we have that's called intuition, whatever you want to call it, your gut, your intuition, whatever. But now
Yeah.
what do instead?
Yeah.
We grab the
Instinct. Yeah.
internet. We look to someone else to tell us. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. ChatGPT, what does
ChatGPT.
this mean? WebMD, right? My kid has a fever. What do I do? It's
Yeah.
like, well, I know what to do,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I'm going to go look online just
Yeah.
in case, because now I don't trust myself, because there's so much more
Yeah.
information out here.
Yeah.
So a lot of it is getting back into And what that looks like, hello, what's the actionable steps of that is if you say you're going to do something, you do it. That's a trust you've just built with yourself. It's a
Mhm.
relationship. And then whatever. And then you get
Yeah.
in these situations and they're not scary because it's like, well, I could fail. And that's, I mean, whatever. It could go completely wrong, but really, is that a big deal? Because you trust yourself enough to say, no, it's not. Right. Versus, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Oh, I might just freak out. Right. That's a very, I don't trust myself reaction versus,
Yeah.
well, holy cow.
Yeah.
Go.
And I think
Yeah.
I'll wrap up there. It comes back to just inner knowing of like, no matter what happens, one, I've always figured it out. And two, no matter what happens, I can
Mhm.
choose to look at it like this is benefiting me. There's growth here, there's lessons. I think back to that leadership comment. How do you become a better leader? Not when shit's easy and like rainbows and butterflies. Like you become a skilled sailor when you're in the
Right.
ocean and you're getting pummeled by waves. And then it's embodied experience. You want more patience, your life's gonna give you opportunities to practice patience
Mhm.
and embody it, but we don't look at it like that. It's like, "God, this
Right.
is testing me in this traffic and my kid." It's like, "Hold on a second. You just said you want certain things, so life's gonna give you opportunities to
Right.
embody and implement those things." And you wanna be this, like, well-spoken communicator or a leader or great. So look at life right now and what is
Yeah,
it giving
opportunities
you
to
to
talk to
embody that?
strangers.
That's
Walk up to a
only what's
stranger and
reflected back
start
of you.
talking. I had
Yeah,
some gals in my
totally.
community that were
Yeah.
like, "I've forgotten how to have small talk." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And they're like, "Because we're doing
Yeah.
this work
I hate
so
small
much
talk.
in here
Can't do
that's
it.
just get deeper, get deeper, get deeper." Well, why does that
Yeah.
make you feel that way? You know? And they're
Yeah.
like, "We can't just have small talk anymore." And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
"Well, then
yeah.
guess what? Just like you
No.
learned the other way, you have to start walking up to strangers at the grocery store and saying hi."
Say hi. Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah,
on the
totally.
man, we could go on forever and ever and ever. Uh, Wrapping it up,
I know.
this has been way too fun.
Yeah.
What would you say to any listener that is, like, needing that nudge of what live like her now is defined as for you? Like,
I'm always very contrarian and cheeky, but, like, to the listener, you already
right.
know. You already know what that is. The question you need to ask yourself is what's preventing you from doing that and embodying that? Because you know, and only you know. So as coaches, we can be the mirrors, but like you know your alignment, you know when things are off, you know what you desire. The question now becomes like, what's preventing you from actually embodying and doing that now? And that's the work we get to do is like, what's the fear? What's the definition? Whatever the F, the stuff, the static I call in your frequency. But you do
Mm,
know. So don't pretend you don't know. And what happens is when we're not certain within ourselves and our own inner knowing and building that relationship with ourselves, we outsource our certainty and decisions to someone else
mm,
who just has more certainty and decisions, right? Whether it's a guru, a coach, whatever, but you all have the answers within yourself. It's just, are you actually pausing to ask the question and then listen to what comes up for you and then support yourself in whatever that looks like to take the action required for the alignment? Knowing that as you align to your authentic self, what's no longer aligned for you is going to clear the fuck out, which is people, relationships, business, types of doing things, but it's
yeah.
creating space for what's more aligned to come in. So ask the question, be brave enough to ask the question. You already know the answer though, guarantee. Like everyone has like, oh, I do this or I want to do that or I'm scared. Listen to the answer and then find support in helping you actually walk that path back to yourself, which you only have your own blueprint. So I wouldn't say anything other than you already know. The question is, what are you going to do
I
about it?
love it. That was, like, amazing. No, that was
I'll be the asshole.
amazing. I love it. It's so perfect. It's so true. And I absolutely love you. And I'm so glad that we got to sit down and do this. And I can't wait to
Same,
just watch
same
you and do
people.
your things. And I was going to tell you with Sundays how you're like, I'm not really a beachy person, whatever. It's got a really
Yeah.
cool hike. Like, it's got a really cool, like,
Oh,
old
sweet.
wood
Okay.
plank path that goes back into the,
Oh, good. I
whatever
love
they
that.
call that, the wetlands? I don't even know, but yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah. Cool.
no,
Did you
well,
stay
I
over
didn't.
there? I know we can do voice notes
There
after, but
is,
I'm
you
like, you
can't
camp
camp
over
in this
there? Like,
specific place I went, you
okay,
can't
okay,
even
okay.
fly drones, like, it's protected, but I think
Right.
there is a place,
Oh, I like
but so
that.
the boat you wanna
Okay.
go on is one of these huge they're like a boat, but they're a raft. It's like this huge boat, and, like, you could sit on the
Okay,
side
okay.
of it like a raft, but it's a
Yeah,
boat underneath, you know what I mean? And they
cool.
go crazy, whipping
Yeah,
you
okay, yep.
around. It's like it's a vibe. It's so
Okay,
fun.
cool.
Yeah, you're gonna
I
love
think I've
it.
seen
It's gonna
this,
be
yeah.
amazing.
Okay. I'm gonna send you 100
Oh,
audios
I
like,
love
"Hey,
it.
what about this?" So, because I still wanna catch up with you in your life, right? I wanna, like, but I know this is podcast, let's get off.
Okay,
We can talk
lady.
for
I
hours,
appreciate you. Thank you so
but I'll
much.
be
Thank you
waiting
so
you.
much
Take
for
care.
this. It's been really amazing, and I'm gonna get
Have
into
me
your ear
on.
in just a second about something else. See you later.
Love it. Bye.